Okay, give me a second when it starts recording. Okay, the recording has started, folks. So good evening, everyone. As I said, this meeting is recorded, and if you'd like to drop because of that, absolutely fine. You can come back and watch the recording of this meeting, which I will try to put it up on the classroom as soon as it becomes available to me after this meeting. This is, once again, this is Lanesh Dave, your instructor for this course during the semester. And so I'm one of the adjunct assistant professors here in the data analytics department. I've did my master's in data analytics in UMGC, and you know, and gone through all the details in the classroom itself. So, in the interest of time, guys, I'm going to, before I kind of go into the quick introduction part, which I've already done, but I'm going to ask Yelena to introduce herself. And before I do that, just quick meeting etiquettes. So please do not start or use your video unless it's absolutely necessary. We'll do a session where we'll kind of take a nice group photo, a classroom picture. We tend to do that in the last session, which would be the 7th week. We'll definitely try to do that, but not anytime due to bandwidth issues, right? So let's keep away from that. Please mute your microphone when you're not talking. As I said, by default, everyone is at the moment, and you can unmute if you'd like to ask a question. You can also put that in the chat room if you'd like to ask a question. And I'll try to monitor it as well as Yelena, and we'll try to address your question that way. For any questions or comments I just mentioned, you can open up or mention it in the chat room. You can also send it in the I just mentioned that. So webinars will be typically an hour or so, with the maximum time being an hour and a half. This will be one of the shortest webinars, and this meeting is introductory. We'll keep it short. Going forward, what I've seen is by default, it goes up to an hour 15 minutes. We haven't hit to the 1.5 hours mark yet, but you never know, right? Depends, and each class is different. But I promise you not to keep here longer. And please mark your calendar whenever you get a Zoom invite by email from me. I will try to now, going forward, try to send these invites out to you a little earlier than what you got this invite. The reason I just did it at a short notice this week, because a lot of folks kind of join in and then they drop out of the class and so on, and I just did not want to send out invites to folks who may not be in the classroom when it really starts. So, but going forward, I'll definitely give you at least a 2 to 3 days notice about this meetings. Okay. This meeting would typically start at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I know I've heard from, at least I remember from one of your classmates who mentioned that this is pretty kind of late for her. And it would be probably nice to do this earlier. And I'm fine. I can do it at 7 Eastern. I can do it at 7:30 Eastern. But I would like to take a poll and make sure everybody's okay with that, knowing that some of you are taking the courses after a while you're in the workforce already. And so I just want to be careful with that. So besides the folks here, I will try to do a quick short poll in the classroom. You can respond to that. I'll try to do it in the classroom, or maybe I'll send it out. I'll try to do it via email. So let me know, and I'm flexible. We can move and shift things around as the class wants, okay? Or as the majority of the classroom. Okay, with that, I'm going to move on to the introductory slide. I just mentioned I'm Lanesh Dave. I get called Dave all the time. So that's absolutely fine, but it's actually pronounced Dave, and that's my last name. And so I've you have, probably watched my detailed YouTube video introduction. If not, I've put up a link here. You can please go there to get an introduction. And for the, in the interest of time, I'm not going to, again, go through my introduction, also ask you for your introduction, because I know many of you already have done that in the classroom. And if not, probably you'll do that this week soon. So I'm going to skip that part. But the person who may not be, get an opportunity, who may not get an opportunity in the classroom is, Yelena Baitenskaya, who is going to be the TA for this class. So say hello to Yelena. Yelena, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Okay. So my name is Yelena. I've been with university for 13 and a half years, and I have my bachelor and master's degree in database technology. And I've been a TA for the data analytics program for many years. I started in the DBST programs and in the data analytics for 13 and a half years. So I look forward to work with you guys. Well, we have graduate program. We just started undergraduate. So
okay, thank you,
all right.
Yelena, and welcome
Sure.
to this class. And nice to have you here. So Yelena has got a lot of experience, folks, being the TA for many of her programs within UMGC, especially the database and the data analytics part. So, she comes in with a lot of that experience, and she's been one of the wonderful teaching assistants that you could have for any of your classes. And you may probably see her more, during some of the courses that you would take within this data analytics degree here. Okay. All right. With that, and we'll talk more about how you would want to reach her. What are some of the the best practices and norms? So we'll kind of go over that. I have a slide up for talking about the creation of tickets to reach to Yelena and all of that. Okay. So we'll talk more then. So moving along, this course is divided into 4 modules, and we've kind of tried to give you a comprehensive hands-on to basic data analytics within this course. So what you will notice is that within each of the modules, there's a discussion, there's a quiz, and there's an assignment. A discussion and quiz are going to be usually, typically in each of the modules, they are divided into 2 weeks each. And the first week of each module, you will have a discussion and quiz. So what that means is week 1, you would have a discussion and quiz. Week 3, you would have a discussion and quiz. Week 5, and then week 7, you will have discussion and quiz. You will have assignment during the second week of each module, which means weeks 2, 4, 6, and then 8 is going to be the week for your assignment. Okay, so module 1, you will learn about how to frame a problem, and you will also learn about installing and using Power BI service and desktop, and if not on the desktop, how to access a virtual lab. And that you should have completed in module 1. Very important, folks, that you pay attention to making sure that you have the Power BI desktop and service available to you, because as soon as we're done with this module, you'll start working with Power BI. And for the next 3 modules, it will be all about making use of Power BI. So please make sure that you've completed that within this module itself. Then in module 2, you learn about outlining, doing some data exploration and some data preparation. You'll learn about how to understand a data set and fix some of the database problems and errors, for analytics purposes. You will then take that further in and kind of building meaningful visualizations from the data set that you would have looked at in module 2. You would have fixed some of the problems in module 2. You would have learned how to really explore your data. So you're kind of taking that step further. You're building upon what you learned in module 2. Actually, in module 3, it's actually building upon module 1 and 2 together, right? That's where you get into module 3. You then take a next step further into understanding one of the simplest data models. So you're learning in module 1 how to frame a problem. You are learning in module 2 how to, explore a data set, how to read a data set, how to find problems in your data set. Module 3, you are going to visualize that data set, or different by using different visualizations. And then you're taking one step further into building a data model based on your data set. And one of the data modeling technique that you'd use, or the machine learning modeling technique that you're going to use, is linear regression. So how cool is that, right? So each module builds, for the next one. And that's why, as I said, it's very important that you are, right from day one, you hit the ground running, you make sure you're on the top of everything, and you do not slide in any case, because as soon as you drop something on the floor in any of these modules, things are going to get harder and harder as you proceed, and it's going to be very difficult to catch up. So my main advice, and this is the most basic advice, and yet the most important advice to you, is not to skip, not to let anything drop on the floor, not to get delayed on anything that's required in any of the modules. Okay. All right. So I'll take questions at the end, folks. But if there's something that that you have really a quick one and you would want me to stop on a certain slide, please feel free to just unmute yourself and ask your question. That's absolutely fine. Okay. All right. So if no further questions, I'm going to kind of take this a little further. And I know this is not one of the greatest slide in this entire deck. It's so dense, you can hardly read it. So I've broken it down, and I'm going to take you week by week. Actually, this is an entire picture of your course structure for all 8 weeks. So I'm going to break it down into 3 pieces. The first one is week 1, right? It's just showing you what you're doing in week 1. You are introducing yourself. You're getting to know me as well. You are working on your Power BI desktop service, like installing Power BI desktop, or whether it's Windows or Mac, or or maybe you want to use the virtual desktop, and you want to create the login in Power BI service. And then you are going through an introduction webinar, which we're just doing it today, which is the second day, of course. And in this module 1, you are getting introduced to data analytics and how to frame a problem. Then you have all the required readings, your Power BI articles and tutorials. And then besides the quiz on the Power BI service and desktop, you have a quiz on framing the problem. And besides that, finally, you have also a discussion that is required for you to complete during this week. Okay, so there's quite a few things lined up for you during this week. But if you've gone through your readings, and if you're going through the tutorials, you can easily dive into your discussion and quiz earlier. Okay. All right. Then in the week 2, once again, you'll stay in module 1. You will be starting the and of course you'll have a webinar. So there will be a webinar like this one next week as well, next Thursday. Once again, by default, it will be at 8 p.m. But if we kind of make any changes during the week, we will kind of do this earlier. But otherwise, you can, for sure, there'll be a webinar on Thursday, okay, next week. And we'll pretty much, I think what I do in these webinars, and after the next one, we will do it every 2 weeks. And that will be to reinforce whatever you would have learned, to take in your questions, to introduce you to the assignment, and so on. And that's going to be the main agenda for these webinars, okay? So I would highly encourage you to attend. I understand if you're not able to attend all the webinars. These are not mandatory, but the more you are in person here, the easier it is. You can, get your problems resolved. You can hear things from here that you can just take on and work on whatever you need to work on, without, the thing on your head that you need to go over the recording, which is sometimes, it could be, get dropped on the floor, it gets boring, whatever. But that's why I said this is the easiest thing is to be here and on a Thursday evenings. And we're just going to do it only 5 times, and we are already going through the first one. Okay, so just 4 more. All right, so then you will have the assignment 1 at the end of week 2. Week 3, we'll start module 2 on data exploration, data preparation. You once again, the same kind of you'll see the similar kind of a template for every week or every other week, which is you will have readings, you will have a discussion, you will have a quiz. That's week 3. Week 4, you will keep up with module 2. We will have a webinar before the week starts. Before the week 2 starts within that module, that is week 4, we will have a webinar. And you don't need to make any note of this. I will be sending out enough information to you week after week as to what is happening and what is required for you to complete. So after the required readings, and then you will have an assignment 2 coming up on data preparation. Week 5, same kind of a setup. You will have required readings for data visualization. You will have a discussion on data visualization and a quiz on visualization. Okay, so that will end your week 5. Then on your week 6 will be, you'll have additional Power BI tutorials and examples. You will have assignment 3 come on data visualization. Week 7 and 8 will be a module 4 on model development. 7, once again, the same template, required readings, discussion, and a quiz. And then the final week, you will have, of course, readings will be there every week, but the focus would then shift until the last week would be on the assignment that need to be completed. Okay, so once again, my biggest advice to you, do not skip on any of the reading material. The discussion and the quiz are going to be based on the material that you would have gone through, right? Same thing for the assignment. Don't jump to get onto these assignments and complete them, because A, they build up on what you've done before, and B, there are things that you would learn during the week or the weeks that is going to be important for you and tell you what to do and how to do things. Okay. All right. So with that, I will kind of get into the grading by grading. But once again, let me just check if there are any questions on the course structure. I hope this is clear. Okay, silence is golden. I'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so on the grading part, okay, thank you, Rena, for that confirmation. So in the grading, we have the, week 1, you have a Power BI and service, Power BI service and desktop check or a quiz for 2 points. You have a week 1 quiz on framing the problem for 5 points. Assignment 1, you have 10 points. Week 3 quiz, 5 points. Assignment 2, 12 points. And that kind of, it's pretty much like a week 3 and assignment 2. Same thing for week 5 and assignment 3. And then week 7, same, you have a quiz for 5 points and assignment for 12 points. So, and the biggest of all, as you can see here in this entire table, is your participation, which is the 4 discussions that you need to go through. Now, let me tell you about discussion, guys. How do you kind of get through this 32 points? 32 easy points to grab, because you will be, putting your thoughts based on the material, the research that you would have done. And please, my advice to you is not to wait for the last minute to post your discussion post. And here's the reason why. The expectation for you from this, for this discussion is that you will submit a posting, which some of you have already done. So guys, if you have not done it, if you're looking for a template, please go into the discussion area, see what your friends, what your peers have already posted, what kind of, what posting they've gone through, how they've posted some of the materials and some of the stuff. So go through those postings, right? That will give you a good idea of how you would want to create your original posting. So that's one. Number two is you're going to respond to my questions, if any, and you're going to respond to at least two of your classmates. Once again, let me repeat, besides submitting a posting, you're required to at least answer, any questions that I would pose to you, or anything that, your fellow classmates would have asked you on your posting. So you have to do that, or you have to at least review the posting of the two classmates and then provide your input to them. Okay. So all this needs to happen before the week closes. And if you're going to wait until the hour left for the week to close or before the week closes, you may lose out on your peers reviewing your posting, asking questions to you, or you doing the same for your classmates. So avoid doing that at the last minute. I hope this is clear. If not, you can ask questions at the end, or you can just, ask me later by email or, in the classroom. But this is very important, guys. I don't want to surprise anyone with your grading. So please keep, pay attention to what I'm saying about the discussions, and also about the grading and the expectations. And most of it's there, right? What I'm saying here, once again, you not take any notes for, because it's in the classroom as to what the expectation is. Okay, so please read through all the expectations of any discussion and any assignments, so that you don't get surprised with the grade. So with that, what will you accomplish, during this course, or after you've gone through this course? You would have solved or know how to solve, data analytics problems. You would have learned how to develop data analytics problem statement. You would learn how to import, prepare, and explore data in Power BI. You would have learned how to build a linear regression model in using Power BI. You would have been creating data visualizations. You would learn how to create them in using Power BI. And then, explain the data analytics methods and processes in general. So this is what you would accomplish. And you could, and this you could easily accomplish and be very successful by just following some of the success factors that are outlined here. And this comes more from experience and seeing some of the students going through these courses than anything, right? So these are not just made up, but these are more from the experience. And first and foremost, the minimum time that you want to spend for each week, ensure that you're spending at least 3 to 6 hours each week. Put them aside, right? This is the minimum, by the way. This is what, if you do the minimum, that's the, you could probably just get through the passing, right? Or maybe a little more than the average or the passing score. If you're someone who really wants to do well in this class and want to go beyond just the passing grade, but really look for that A, which I hope everybody here is, and knowing all the seriousness and knowing what I'm hearing in the classroom and getting to know you through your introductions, I'm sure everyone is really going to be an overachiever and a high achiever here. And you really want to plan for 6 to 12 hours each week, right? Start early. Many of you have already done that before even the class started. A few of you have already gone through and done some research, done through some of the quizzes, finished some of the reading material, started putting up the discussion. Absolutely nice. You've got a real good head start. And this is the pattern that you'd want to follow week after week. So please don't get burnt out. Please do not lose momentum at any point in time. And if you are, be open and honest. Let me know, let your friends or classmates know, to make sure that you get that motivation back, right? And that momentum back. No plagiarism. Please do not ever do that. This is the worst way to kind of lose out on any points that you could gain by doing a simple research, putting things in your using your own words, and just letting everyone know the references that you've used. As simple as that. guys. I mean, everybody, there's a lot of stuff that we see on the internet today, and it could be easily detected if you have just, copy pasted stuff. So please don't do that. Please don't, don't do any disservice to yourself by doing that. As easy as is, just, put things in your own words and refer to what you would have done or where you would have picked up stuff from. And participation is the key. As I said, be here as much as you can. Be present in the classroom. Be present with, any discussion, and while you're discussing with your peers, asking questions, and that's going to be the key. And that's one of the success factors. And finally, submit on time. I can't tell you enough, about submitting stuff on time, and which goes a long way, especially discussion. You will be out of luck if you are going to put any discussion postings late, because, the door would have been closed. You would not have gone through, as I mentioned, even if you are doing this at the last moment, or have, missed the window, you would be out of luck for at least half of the points, because your peers would not have got a chance to review your posting, and you probably would not have got time enough to do the review of your classmates posting. So discussion, quizzes on time, assignments, especially the last one. For the last assignment, we have to finish grading within 2 days to 3 days, and especially our department wants to get it done even as soon as possible, within 2 days max. So we want to get that done, and that's only possible if you have submitted your final assignment on time, right? So everything gets done, your grade starts getting loaded on the day everything is done or completed, your class is completed. Okay, so please submit everything on time. So finally, how would you get in touch with me, right? You would have seen an email come from me for this particular webinar, but if you have not noted, here's my email. But if there's any questions regarding, related to advising, you have an email here, you've got a toll-free number. And if there are any questions about this class, maybe you want to go and talk to the program director for any reason, you have that email ID as well here, email address, okay? And how you would want to kind of try to get attention from a program director, that is also mentioned here by what you want to put in the subject line. Okay, so with that, I've got the final thing that I want to do here, which is to talk about how to get in touch with Yelena, right? When would you create a TA ticket or a Salesforce ticket? The Salesforce ticket, and you may note the website or the URL that is right here, which is also in the classroom, by the way. So you don't have to really come and look at this picture and then explore it or zoom into it to see the URL, but this typing this URL as is very important to get you to this particular website, where you can create this ticket for Yelena to look at and help you with any technical problem. Now, when I say by technical problem, remember, she can't fix your computer. She can't work on your assignment. She is not there 24/7. She is not a chatbot. She is a human who works here during the day, US hours, US East Coast hours, and she's probably here even late evenings and late nights. Let me tell you about Yelena. Anytime she gets an email and she sees that she can help you right away, she will. Trust me. I've seen her doing during late evenings. I've seen her doing it early morning, but I don't want to set an expectation that she's going to be around as soon as you put in a ticket, as soon as you send her an email. The expectation, honestly, an expectation to get a response back from any one of us after your email is 24 hours. But over the years that I've been working with UMGC and I've been working with Yelena or being part of this department, we've never have gone to that extent. Most of our emails and tickets get responded, at least get responded within 12 hours or within even better than that, 4 hours, 5 hours. We try our best. But when I say 4 to 5 hours, doesn't mean that you put in a ticket 12 o'clock at night and somebody at 4 a.m. is going to address your and provide any resolution to you. So it's very important to understand that. Next, for Yelena to know exactly what you're facing, what problem you're facing, she needs to get the information correctly. And for that, you have to take 2 steps. First is to create this ticket very clearly. As you can see here, you have to use the course type, the case type as UMGC virtual lab support, without which it's not going to go, first of all, it's not going to go to any technical support person if you do not choose that in the dropdown. Next, once you have chosen your customer type as student, ensure that the other dropdowns, you're choosing the right options, like you are part of data analytics program, you are part of the data program, and your course is data 220. You can type in the section if you like, and if not, if you just miss it, that's fine too. But I would say put in any information that you see here that you can put in, please. It will go a long way to understand where this is coming from, where this needs to go to, and what is your problem here. So fill in as much as information and correct information. Give Yelena a chance to know your problem right as soon as she understands the email. That, oh, okay, I see this is what you tried to do. This, you click this, or this is the screenshot. This is what you're seeing, and this is what you should be get. So if she gets to know all that, it will be better for her, and it will be easier for her to, and faster, you get a response back, and your problem is resolved. But do not expect her to work and fix your computer issues if you have any. She's more, if you're especially using the virtual lab in UMGC, right? Or if there are some specific, some Power BI related issues, yes, she can probably try to take a look at that with you. So if she asks you to come over for a Zoom session, share your screen, and show her the problem, be prepared with that. But that's in a nutshell. Yelena, if I missed anything, or if you want to add anything here, please feel free. You got the floor.
Well, I was just going to say that when you receive the response from the Salesforce, it's not going to be from Yelena. It's going to be from Virtual Lab. So if you don't see the response, please check your junk mail also, okay? Remember to check your junk mail, because sometimes some students see response in a junk mail. Then you're going to mark it as not junk, right? There is an option to make it always delivered to your inbox, okay? Does that make sense?
Okay, good point there, Yelena.
Huh?
Good point, I said. Good point there, Yelena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you don't see it.
Yep, I know that. Yep, sometimes it just goes to your spam, and you think that you've not received any response back. And as I said, if you do not see some response back and it's been a long time, drop me an email, give me your ticket number. And also you can come here and see your own ticket. Have you typed in the right information? Did you mistakenly, choose a wrong department? Did you not choose lab support, right? Did you choose something else? Maybe we have seen tickets that have gone to finance, that have gone to advising, that has gone to program office. We've seen all sorts of things that have happened just because somebody would have mistakenly, chosen a wrong option from the drop down. So please, you can also do that yourself. Or as I said, even if you feel that everything was done right, your ticket was correctly, created and sent out, once again, you have an option to let me know, and I'll take it from there. Okay. I can find out about your ticket and see where it stands. All right. So if no questions, I can just, so in summary, we talked about, we introduced, Elena introduced herself, who's also going to be part of this class. We went over, the modules within this course. We talked about the course structure week by week. We talked about the grading information. We talked about what you'll accomplish at the end of this course. We talked about the success factors, and also I shared, how you could contact myself and also, others in the department if that's needed. So let me stop here. And now, I think I'm done with everything that I had to share. I'm open for your and ready for your questions. What questions do you have for me or Yelena?
This is Dawn. I have a question about the number of responses to the classmates in the discussion posts.
Mm-hmm.
In the classroom, it says respond to, if I'm reading this right, to 3 other classmates' posts. But I think you said earlier that we only had to respond to 2 plus any responses that we had gotten to our own posts.
So, okay, very good. Thanks for asking for clarification. Well, 3 is a good average, good mark to kind of, you can go to and respond. When I say respond, okay, and that could be a little confusing because what respond means is, first of all, review other classmates' posting. So the way I read it as, okay, Don, you submitted a posting, go and review Cindy's posting and respond to that posting. And maybe sometimes you're just responding with your own thoughts about her post, maybe have a question for Cindy about the post. And that's what is called the review. That's number 1, right? You would have done one of the 3 or one of the 2. I would say I'm okay with if you just do 2, right? 3 is a good number. And you would have definitely, made sure that you've done, enough for ensuring that you've done the review and you're going to get, points for this review. Next, Don, you can go to probably Matthew's posting and say, okay, I'm going to review Matthew's posting. And then I'm going to review Milanka's posting. And yes, you've gone through 3 postings, you reviewed them, you asked them questions, or you said, hey, Matthew, this is great. I love what you put up here. This is nice. I never thought this could be, thought this way, whatever. And that's okay too, because you are also, you may not have a question, but you have, you're kind of recognizing or encouraging your peer that, it was a great posting, you liked it. And, maybe you have a question about how they came up with this kind of a thought process. And that's fine. So you would have, that's the review about at least doing a review of 3 postings, right? 2 to 3 postings of your classmates. That's number 1. Now, number 2 is responding, right? So let's say, Don, you asked Cindy a question. When you reviewed her posting, you asked Cindy, hey, Cindy, I love this posting. What do you mean by this? And you expect a response by Cindy. So it is going to be Cindy's responsibility to answer back to you, right? That is responding to your question. Same thing you would have done to Matthew. And Matthew would then have a responsibility to answer your question, right? So that's kind of saying that if you get asked a question for your posting, then you need to respond. So Don, same way, some people could come and ask you and review your posting and ask you questions. I could be reviewing your posting and ask you a question, as I've done to Dion, right? If you've noticed, I've done it to a couple of folks already in the classroom. And I've asked the question, hey, I like this, but why this or why that? And I generally don't tend to go into asking a lot of that. I understand that, your time is limited. I don't want to, and you may have other courses or other things going on in your life. I try to keep it short, but I try to do that as well and ask some good questions if I want to. And same thing for your classmates. So I know it could be a little long-winded answer, but I hope I answered it completely, Don, and hope this is clear.
Yes, that's fine. So we have to respond to 2 minimum, 3 is preferred.
Yes, 3 is preferred. Okay. Yes, let's put it this way.
And sir, this is Matthew here. I just wanted to follow up on that question to clarify your intent. And the way that I understand your intent, obviously, you're being very specific about what the requirement is. I'm going to look at the overall strategic intent. And my sense is that it's simply to foster the more organic types of conversation that we might be having with one another if we were sitting in a classroom environment. Is that correct?
Excellent. Yes, absolutely, Matthew. You got it right.
Outstanding. Yeah. I think sometimes the form of online learning can create this idea that you're just sending digital information out into the web and not
True.
getting any feedback. So, okay, outstanding. I only have one follow-up question, and then I'm pretty squared away. I think that this was very streamlined and very to the point. I've not yet started to look at Microsoft the BI. Is it similar at all to the other statistical or analytics software that's called Minitab?
I've heard about Minitab. I've not been a big user of Minitab, but you'd find a lot of similarities between some of the visualization tools that are out there in the market. So I cannot say for 100% for sure, like maybe feature by feature, but you will find that, hey, I could do this in Minitab this way. Okay, Power BI is doing it this way. So maybe there are different ways and means to get to the same result or to the same visual as what you could get in Minitab. So yes, then there are different ways, but you'll be able to, still do the same or maybe even more in, these tools like Power BI. Good question,
Outstanding.
Matthew.
Outstanding. Thank you for that, sir.
Sure. Welcome. Good questions, guys. Any other question?
Yes, I have one. So I understand that earlier you said that you would be sending out the Zoom links in advance, but I just wanted to clarify, are these sessions going to be consistent, or is it just going to be every now and then?
No, it's consistent. As I said, it's consistent to be on Thursdays. So the next one is going to be the next Thursday, a week from now. And then after next week's session, it's going to be alternate Thursdays.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Welcome. Okay. Any other question? Folks, was this helpful, really? I mean, I want to make sure that this session is a good use of your time. I want to always be mindful of that, knowing you have so much going on in your life with, courses, work, family, so on. So I want to be really, and I would be always looking for your feedback. And if there's, for a reason you cannot, put it out here, that's fine. You can send me an email, you can send me a note, whatever works for you. But please, let's this be two ways. I'm not here to, just make sure that you kind of learn Power BI and you kind of are graded for your work here. I want you to also provide equally, good feedback to me. Even if it is constructive feedback, I would love to have that. I call it as gems, really. So let's this be, two-way street at any time, whether it's this session, this seminar, this webinar, or in future too. Okay. Thanks, John.
This is Matthew. I just wanted to indicate, yeah, absolutely. I think it ought to be a requirement of every online course that you begin the course with some kind of coming up on communication and having this feedback the way we would in a normal classroom. I'm Central Standard Time, so I would want to be sensitive to my peers and colleagues. Eastern Standard, if 8 p.m. is too late, yeah, that would be the only thing that I would ask, is just to throw back to our peers, is to say, hey, is 8 p.m. too late? But otherwise, I think this is good.
Yeah, and we'll do the poll. I know we don't have the entire class here today, so I would hate to just decide on the folks here and decide on a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I said, poll everyone, find out as many, and based on the responses I get, try to get to see if we can settle down. And maybe we'll just have like 7:30. Maybe we not go to do earlier for you too, because knowing that you are central. And I don't know if there's anyone from the West Coast, right? I mean, once again, West Coast is another reason why we had this scheduled at 8 o'clock, so that we know that there's at least it's 5 o'clock and beyond work time if you're working or if you're in the workforce, right? And they would also be able to join. But if we don't have anyone from West Coast, and or even if you have one and they're still okay with doing this little earlier, I'm okay with 7:30, right? And we'll see, but we'll find out. Okay, Matthew? But thank you for letting me know about your central time zone.
Absolutely.
Okay, anyone else? Any other questions? Okay, the crowd's got quiet. I believe, we've kind of addressed everything that's on your mind. I hope so. I would like to assume that way. But if not, you have ways and means to reach out and get that clarified. So let's do that. Let's get going. And I'd like to wish you all good luck. I hope you enjoy this course. I hope you enjoy the next 8 weeks, and you learn what you're here to learn, and really appreciate the tool that we'll be using during this course as well. So let's all have a great semester, guys. Okay. And thank you all, and good night. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.